Today we're going to make super easy mini scrunchies. If you make neckbands of your sweatshirts or t-shirts using 2 inches or 5 centimeters wide ribbing, don't throw away any offcuts that are too short to be used for a garment. Sew the longer side of your ribbing strip together to create a tube. I close one short end because I use a prim loop turner, but it's not necessary. Using the loop turner, or just a chopstick, turn the loop to the right side. This is probably the fiddliest part, as the ribbing can be thick. And yes, I know it looks borderline indecent. Of course, you can use your favorite method of turning the loop. You don't have to use my method, but I do like my gadgets. My tube is long enough to make 2 mini scrunchies, so I cut off my closed short end, cut the tube in half, and using tweezers, insert one end of the loop into another. Again, you don't need the tweezers. You can use any pointy object or just your fingers, but my tweezers seem to do a good job. For a neat look, fold a few millimeters of the ribbing end, the end that is going to be on top, to the inside, so that no raw edges are visible. Try to make the joining relatively flat, though if you're like me, the little bump won't bother you much. Our mini scrunchie is pretty much ready. You can now stitch it by hand or using your machine. I do it by hand, but I like batch sewing them. So when I have made a few mini scrunchies, I sew them closed while watching TV. Ribbing is stretchy enough, but if you prefer, you can insert a piece of elastic into the tube made out of ribbing before you sew it into a circle, so before you sew together the shorter ends. As I fiddle with my scrunchies, you can like the video, because videos with no likes are sad. 2 mini scrunchies done. They're a bit more like an adult alternative to the bigger ones that are so popular. I'm going to repeat the process on my grey ribbing, so if something wasn't clear the first time, it will hopefully be clear now. We are sewing the longer end of our ribbing, right sides together, and of course you can use your regular sewing machine for that. I just like the thicker seam that the overlocker creates. I'm closing one short end to make it easier for my loop turner to be used to turn the loop to the right side. The plastic tube goes into my ribbing tube, and we can start poking. Sorry, I can't say it without laughing. We can start poking the closed end of the ribbing with the stick. That is a sentence that you are never going to hear again. Okay, I promise to behave now. But this bit makes me laugh a lot because I'm rather childish at times. When my ribbing is properly poked out to the right side, I'm going to cut off the thick short end because I don't want any bulk. My ribbing is long enough to make 2 mini scrunchies, so I'm going to cut it in half, and in each scrunchie, fold a few millimeters on one end to the inside of the tube. Insert the other end, the one with raw edges, into the hole, and then stitch the scrunchies closed by hand. These are probably the easiest and quickest projects that I make, and I love the mini scrunchies because they're soft and make me feel good about using up my small ribbing offcuts. And the additional bonus of laughing my head off when turning the loop is not to be disregarded either. We need laughter to stay sane. So don't throw away your ribbing scraps. Making the mini scrunchies is quite therapeutic, and you end up with something very usable. It's a double win. And we're nearly done. My second grey mini scrunchie needs to be fiddled with, and they need to be hand sewn closed. But I don't think you want to see my hand sewing because it's not great. Let me know if you have any ingenious ways of using up tiny little scraps of ribbing or any fabric. And my mini scrunchie number 4 is done. It probably takes less than 2 minutes to make one, and I love them.